Hello everyone, hope you're having a wonderful year so far. Dr. Stephen James here to bring you a new series where I share my experience on GTA Online. And as such, I would like to introduce you to my GTA Online alter ego, Stephanie. I know, the feminine form of my first name, so original. Anyway, you have probably seen her in a couple previous uploads I have done where I use GTA footage for the intro and outro of a couple videos. I will leave them in the description for you to check out later. I hope you enjoy this video, and with that out of the way, here's what I have so far. Full disclosure, I actually had footage, but for whatever reason, it got lost when I purged some footage. I must have cut this one short accidentally as well. But anyway, we start off finding ourselves in an effort to complete one of my daily challenges, riding a roller coaster ride. And look at that, the name of the roller coaster is the Leviathan. Am I the only one who can't help but think of that Volbeat song, Leviathan, whenever I read that name? Anyway, I really thought the view on the carousel would be a lot better. Didn't realize we'd be facing the ocean. Which got obscured when when it started to rain out of nowhere. So yep, that's finally over. That's 2 out of 3 challenges complete. As I'm making my way back to the car that I stole. Let me, well, actually not the car I stole, it's one of my personally owned vehicles, my bad. Yeah, so, I'm making my way back to the vehicle when, out of nowhere, I see something on radar. I feel like checking it out for a, for a chance of free money, and it's some guy sleeping on the wet boardwalk, who then proceeds to glitch out the frame and get lodged into the boardwalk itself. Anyway, with that being done, I make my way back to my SUV, which is properly parked because I made a joke in the lost footage where just because I'm an outlaw in this game does not mean I need to be a libertarian. But anyway, I set my waypoint to my personal nightclub, but then on my way there, I see that some store is apparently being robbed. And I'm in the mood for some cash, and for an era that does not really receive a lot of cash in its cash registers, it pays really well. Like thousands of dollars. Normally, when you would loot the safes in this game's when this game was first conceived, you could only get a few thousand in the safe, and people would do that because, well, when the game first came out, there wasn't really all that much to do. I mean, you could commit a bunch of crimes in free roam, but otherwise, it was just the typical standard multiplayer modes, you know, like survival and deathmatch, etc. But anyway, after eating up my bullets like a sponge initially and resisting any force from my vehicle, he finally went down, as you can see, and I take my reward from the clerk as like so. Anywho, making my way back to the nightclub, I try to park my SUV in the garage, but then I realized that one of my other personal vehicles is already in there, and so I just ended up parking it in the parking lot, and noticed how long the line was outside my nightclub. You know, fun fact about nightclub lines, they purposely put people in, you know, they deliberately put people in lines so that the nightclub would look busy from the outside, when in reality there'd maybe only be like a few groups, maybe more. But yeah, that's I kind of like it, you know. It's I don't necessarily have to do stuff to gain this nightclub's popularity to get an adequate amount of funds. And I pocket $9,000 from my safe, which isn't really a lot given the economy in this game. My goal is to get a submarine, a luxury yacht before this season in the series is over. And I also want a Nakatomi Suntory, however that's pronounced. And also one of those jet bikes. Those bikes shaped like a jet turbine, which I found out cost as much as a super yacht. So that's probably not going to happen in the season, but definitely going to try to get the other three. But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I decide to anyway, I proceed to the garage and take one of my more luxurious cars, and I head off to a stash house to get some, to steal some free product for one of my warehouses. And as I mow through these guys, I notice they actually have a juice box. You know, some restaurants have juice boxes in the US. I mean, they're digitized, so they're not like old-fashioned jukeboxes mostly. But, I mean, either way, it's a bit unnecessary. The only reason I could see people actually going for jukebox tunes is for that nostalgia feel, you know, make you feel like you're in the 1950s. But, yeah, anyway, I clear these guys out easily. I find the code to the safe and proceed to unlock it before making my exit. And as I step outside, I know that there were going to be some guys pursuing me, so I take out my rifle and make short work of them. Make them go down like bowling pins. And of course, I know they give up their pursuit once I exit the immediate area, so I enter my car and find the clearest way out. Just kidding, there is no clear way out, so I end up taking a bit of fire, but nothing I can't handle. I get clear, and it looks like I have picked up some weapons supplies, so I set my waypoint all the way up north to my bunker in Paleto Bay, and I will use some editing to flash forward. Anyway, the reason why I choose to go to my bunker first is so that I can sell what I have now before the stock gets too full. If the stock gets too full, it would be ideal for me to have more help, which I'm too much of a loner to ask for from people. So anyway, after watching the animation of me entering the bunker through this vehicle, I get out of my car and make my way through the labyrinth and onto my computer. And passing by the big truck, which I totally forgot I purchased, because, again, I never use this area, in case I didn't say that already. I don't have a shooting range or accommodations. I mean, are any of those really a loss? I mean, you'd have to pay an admittance fee for the shooting range, but, I mean, my shooting is already 100% accuracy, so is there really any need? And the reason why I don't have any accommodations is because, well, for one thing, again, I don't use this bunker that often for it to make a difference, and also at the time I purchased this bunker, I was broke. So I only purchased what I could afford to buy. So, yeah, I think that's all reason enough. I do buy a soda to replenish my health because I took quite a few shots while clearing that stash house to get these supplies. And anyway, I head to my computer and proceed to sell the stock in San Andreas because, of course, it pays more. I'm sure the extra cost had to do with all the shipping, the further travel. That's how it would work in real life, I'm pretty sure. Among a few other contributing factors, I have no doubt. On my way there, I, of course, am met with police resistance, and, of course, I think, just great. That is because I was not aware that I was in one of those big rigs with one of those battering ram things that makes you be able to flip cars over, and I did not even notice I was driving one of those vehicles until I looked at the text sent to me by Agent 14. I flip the third-person camera and see that it is indeed one of those trucks. And I'm gonna be honest, I never use one of these. And I got pretty excited, but then I got a little too cocky and I went up a hill next to the road across from the bar where the Lost hang out, and I do a 90-degree angle along the mountain, and I get the trailer unhinged from the truck, and I do my best, and I get it hooked back up and try not to do that again. I can understand why people like to use this truck, why they're willing to spend millions of in-game dollars to get it. It is very therapeutic. On my way there, as I'm almost there, I realize I failed to make my turn, so I attempt to turn around, realizing I am way longer than the average car, and I took too wide a turn and dislodged and unhooked the trailer one last time. And after hooking it back up, I decide to just wait till I get off the bridge, but then I realize I just need to make a much wider turn. Can you even imagine driving one of these 18-wheelers in real life? I cannot imagine that kind of life. I tell you what, you can say what you want about truckers, but they have chosen a pretty difficult lives for themselves. Male truckers have the reputation of being creepy. I wonder if that's true for female truckers. Honestly, I can imagine it, but whenever we think of truckers, we usually think of male truckers, don't we? Anyway, I finally make my way all the way to the literal complete opposite end of San Andreas Island. And as the chopper flies overhead to pick up the trailer I just bought to them, I pocket a cool 67 grand, or 67.5 grand, whatever it says on the screen there. And so after receiving a call from Agent 14 congratulating me about my success in the delivery, blah, 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 I take another look at the daily challenges, wondering if I'm still available to do the new collections adversary mode, and I actually, I saw that the option to join one of those lobbies in the loading screen, but I felt I wasn't really feeling in the mood for it. To think I could have easily gotten that done, but anyway, I wasn't sure what kind of mode that was. I mean, was it an adversary mode? Was it an adversary mode? And if it was, would I be lucky enough to get into that specific type of mode? Realizing that I might not even enjoy it, I'm just like, screw it. It's not worth it. I mean, if it were for cash, and if it was for cash at all, I don't really care about rank points, honestly. I'm mostly in it for the money. So, I just say fuck it and go do the next thing, which is to go to my arcade in Grapeseed and pick up the contents in the safe there. But on my way, I find an attractive hooker in thigh-high boots, and I honk my horn to invite her in, but instead her friend with the tight pants, I'm like, well, I already invited her in, and plus she's got a sexy voice, so I decide why not. And this is going to get pornographic, so parents, cover your kids' eyes. Just kidding, I'm trying to keep this video under an hour long, so I just use some editing to skip through all that. And after receiving the final service, she then runs away. And I wonder why. I mean, hookers kept running away from me the last time I played this game, but that was because I was wearing an alien costume, or so I thought, but... So yeah, I thought that was kind of rude, so I proceed to gun her down, which I was going to do anyway in an effort to get my money back, and I got a little more money than I had originally planned. So it worked out for the best. Of course, I was going to use a melee weapon because those are way more passionate. So I finally make my way to Grapeseed, but then a phone call on a payphone, God, it feels so weird to say that, payphone. Honestly, most of the payphones in Pennsylvania have been torn down. The ones I knew for a fact were there have all been taken down. But anyway, I receive a phone call from Franklin to do an assassination mission, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. Knowing full well that I have no idea where the end of the assassination mission will make me end up. Will it be closer or further away from my destination? But anyway, I agreed to do it reluctantly, saying that since I could use the extra money, I decide to do the one closest to my immediate area, and on my way there, I receive the bonus objective from Franklin, saying I have to take all these people out with my vehicle, and I'm like, okay. I take out the first one at the park with pretty easy effort. Had to run him over a couple times because he's got thick skin and I almost got collateral too. The second one's a little precarious because apparently wooden poles are invincible, so I got my vehicle lodged a couple times. And of course, like the first one, he had buddies with him that were showing, only this time the buddies showed a bit of resistance till I pulled out my gun and they proceeded to scatter. And as I was making my leave, I heard this. And I thought if I had to lose a wanted level, so be it. It's not like they'll be able to catch me in this muscle car, Only I guess he was bluffing because a lot of time went by, and so there were no stars on the corner of my screen. So anyway, I make my way to the third target, and if you're wondering why we're taking these people out, it's because they were basically trolling online. I know, nothing's more fun than taking out trolls. And so it's kind of poetic that we be running them over under a car. So it's the car's like a metaphor for the bridge. Honestly, I didn't really get a good read at that text, and I skipped the phone call because I realized it was one I'd heard before. So yeah, I don't know how many assassination variants there are, but I think I've basically played through all the different mission types. It's just that sometimes the locations are different. And as I'm talking, I finally make my way to my fourth and final target, and he got lodged behind a building, making it more difficult to get to him than that cavity I had in my back tooth a couple years ago. But so I tried to get around him from the other side, but then he hopped out of his hiding spot, and I proceeded to run him down. And of course, the final objective is leave the area, and I do. And then I pocket a cool 45 grand, which the game decides to notify me about in a big fat line, dark line right across my screen. And I'm like, gee, thanks, game. I don't need to see where I'm going or anything. So, yeah, anyway, fortunately, as luck would have it, the final assassination mission did actually get me closer to my personal arcade, which is directly across the street from one of my 6 personally owned apartments. The apartment across the street is a crack den, of course, because all the luxurious or otherwise middle apartments are in, all the luxurious apartments in Grapeseed. The luxurious apartments in Los Santos, I mean. But, I just can't seem to get rid of that apartment. It's just, something about it. I like the area. A little quaint apartment next to a body of water, or close enough. It's not directly across or anything, but it's a short walk to it. Anyway, I proceed to crack my safe and pocket over 13 grand. Yeah, lately my arcade is one of my most profitable non-dubious businesses. And so I decide to walk around, and I think I need to replenish my snacks, so I take it up to the bartendant to give her something to do, and it turns out I already had them full. But since I already bothered her, I decide to take a shot of whiskey, and I get a little too hammered. Of course, that was my intention. She's lucky. I mean, this character is lucky she has a weak metabolism. I mean, I have much more of a resistance to alcohol. It's pretty expensive to get me drunk. It takes like 5 full glasses of wine before I even start to feel a little buzzed. So I decide to try out my most recently purchased arcade, which little did I know requires another player. So I'm like, screw it, I'll just head out. But then realized that I'm still much too stoned, and I didn't want to deal with a wanted level, so I decide to bother my bartender one last time, realizing that if I pass out and spawn wherever, which I guessed would either be in front of my toilet or outside the arcade, and I figured, I could just sober up, I could just skip the part where I just sober up. And so when she cuts me off, I realize that that's that, and I'm on the verge of passing out. As I'm heading out, I pass by the jukebox, which causes my controller to vibrate, which got me thinking to myself, if that thing is that loud, I can imagine how much of a headache it would induce to a drunk person. And I proceed to enter my vehicle, but then realize that one of my warehouses is actually right down the street, so I instead decide to take a quick walk over to it, and then pass by an ATM machine, and finally decide to use that machine to deposit my cash, because online transactions are for Gen Z kids, which I am not. I am Gen Y. So anyway, I finally get that out of the way and continue across the street to my forgery warehouse, which is, by the way, my most recently purchased business. So anyway, realizing that I don't really have that much in stock, I'm going to buy more supplies and wait for those, not buy supplies, steal, because buying supplies is for chumps. So anyway, I decide to get more supplies, and then hopefully the stock will be full enough for me to bother to take to Los Santos, or possibly San Andreas if I need to use multiple vehicles, or possibly Blaine County if I'm required to take 2 vehicles or more to it, and that way I wouldn't have to worry about such a long trip. By the way, do you guys like the outfit that I chose for my character? Pretty cute, right? And no, I did not choose it randomly. The outfit is actually inspired by someone, and I will not and no, I will not give you the name, but what I will do is show you a picture on screen, and be warned, it will flash very quickly, so be prepared. Ready? Here it is. Of course, I can't get every outfit to make it an exact replica, but I chose attire that makes making it close enough to make the difference irrelevant. Not only that, but also make it a little bit more like my own thing, not an exact copy and paste, which, if you ask me, I think is more respectable. Especially since girls tend to get really finicky if you wear the exact same outfit as them, to put it mildly. But anyway, I finally make my way over to my warehouse. I try to put it in back, and a bunch of assholes decide to park their vehicles in my path. And dude, you have a ton of room behind you, buddy. Pull it back a little. I'm not even sure parking's allowed there. See what I mean about the Libertarian Party just parking wherever they feel like? But anyway, I have an adequate amount of stuff, and LJT congratulates me on my success. I then walk out the door and make my way to my weed farm in Paleto Bay. In case you're wondering why I have my assets so spread out, I would answer, well, it's just because I don't want to leave any space wasted. Plus, the kingpins that have their assets so spread out across an island, makes you more dominant, and more respectable among your criminal peers. So anyway, I proceed to once again steal some supplies, which are all the way in Los Santos in the Tequila La Inn. I have to beat up a bunch of bikers, which is good in a fist-to-fist fight with a bunch of bikers, which is pretty unfair since, unlike me, they are allowed to have melee weapons. That is about the one complaint I have about having my assets so spread out, is all the time you spend getting from point A to point B. But anyway, a few of these guys apparently have a ton of HP, which causes me to take a longer period of time and more lives spent to take them out. I test to see if I can maybe glitch the game out now that I technically found the supplies by shooting the door open and holding the gun out. But no, it despawned right away. And at one point throughout it all, I kicked one guy and he knocked right into his buddies. I thought that was pretty cool, but yeah, again, they're still not down. I don't know. Of course, I could just take the supplies and run, but I'm a very prideful person, so I decided to just take everyone out, and I finally did. And bear in mind, I just cut like 4 minutes worth of this stuff in half. This fight took way longer and fewer lives than I'm willing to share for time's sake. But yeah, I just try to see if there's anything I can pick up, which is cash, and a pool stick, which I never really felt like it was necessary to buy from a gun store, since you should be able to pick this up at like any random bar. I don't really know why they make it possible. Oh, right, I know why. It's to force you to spend money in this game. But yeah, anyway, I try a few times. I try to, back out and go back in to try to pick it up, see if, again, I could glitch it out, but no dice. So yeah, I just gave up, but as I walk outside, I realized that the car I was driving also despawned, forcing me to take the only vehicle in sight, which was the biker's van. And finally, after about 5 minutes worth of driving, I finally delivered the supplies to the farm, and I am ready to sell my product. LJT put the stock on a bike, and which tracks since I am in a biker gang after all, president of a biker gang in fact. And yet this is the first time I've used a motorcycle in this run for this video. So I wasn't too critical of the bikers for using a van over a bike, because even though it's obviously required for you to use a bike in order to be considered a biker gang, but the only way to be able to do these types of profitable missions is if you register as a president of a biker club. So obviously it's not necessarily required for you to use a bike. I just, as you see in this gameplay, use any vehicle that's at my disposal. So yeah, I think motorcycle gang is just a dumbed down name for drug runner or whatever. Just trying to make money. It's certainly more fun than selling cars or using or random goods for Sekiro's server, if I'm being honest. Anyway, I go over to the waypoint exactly as directed, and yet, just like with Google Maps, the GPS has no idea where it's going and just takes me to the grass. I do a little hop onto the parking lot and proceed to rev my engine into the rear end. Get it? I made a little innuendo. Anyway, I complete the mission and pocket 24.3 grand. A while ago, I received a text from Sinesta. I know I butchered the pronunciation of her name, but anyway, I received a text from her a while ago saying that a customer bought in a vehicle a while ago for customization, so I decide to pop in and take a look-see. Anyway, I do all the customizations for the customer, meeting my quota, and I decide to deliver it myself because even though it says all the customizations are free, I have to pay usually between 20 to 50 grand in order to confirm the customization. And even though the delivery would make up for it, you also get a little bonus for delivering the vehicle yourself. So that is what I do, and this is one of the few times I try to obey all the rules of the road, with a handful of exceptions. Believe it or not, NPCs in this game are just as bad as the people at driving as the people who play this game usually. Not kidding. I mean, this game takes place in what is the equivalent of Los Angeles, and people in LA have a reputation of being bad drivers. So if this game is even half as accurate to the real life drivers in LA on a regular basis, I reconsider ever wanting to drive in the city there. But yeah, anyway, I also when stopped at a light, I also check my rear pretty regularly because I like to know when I'm about to be rear-ended. One time when I was in a training program for driving, bear in mind, she was driving one of those vehicles that provides her with a brake and gas pedal in the passenger seat. So yeah, I'm about to go through a light that has changed yellow, and because I know that if I don't, I'm about to be rear-ended. I noticed he was driving behind me at a particularly high speed. But yeah, so I'm about to go through. She slammed on the brakes. He hit me, barely left a dent, luckily. But yeah, that was an interesting story, and that is why you should always check behind you before whether or not you want to go through a yellow light, whether you're right there. The people behind you should be a contributing factor just in case. But anyway, getting back to the gameplay, after meeting a close call with a lady in a convertible driving in front of me, unable to decide where she wants to turn, I successfully deliver this vehicle to the customer, who happens to live just a couple houses down from me. So yeah, small world. in this open world game. Anyway, I successfully delivered the vehicle without a scratch and pocket a cool 60 grand. And decide, since I'm right there, even though I felt like I was still breaking in this outfit, I decided since I'm right there, I might as well do a few things, such as replenish my health by drinking this nasty, what I assume is kale juice. Yeah, I bet you didn't know you could do that, but just in case you didn't, now you do. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to smash the like button. I'm thinking I will be releasing a new video for this new series like once, maybe twice a month. I think is a doable rate. Honestly, these videos are more time consuming than you'd think, so while you're at it, you should also hit the subscribe button because I am trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year, which is very manageable to me because I'm already pretty close, as you can see on screen right here. And just as well, because you are not going to want to miss the content I have planned for this year. Trust me on that. So yeah, like I said, hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications. And also, like I said, hit the like button if you want to see more of this content. As always, it's Dr. Stephen James saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.